Good morning. I'm pleased to welcome you to this conversation concerning the Indian Child Welfare Act, which was passed in 1978, which has been organized by the Christian Alliance for Indian Child Welfare, and which assembles numerous participants who have been engaged for several years in addressing the question of how the implementation of that act has wrought, in many cases, unintended consequences throughout the United States, many of which have been harmful consequences for very tender American citizens. The act, as I indicated, was passed in 1978, and in the time that has elapsed since then has frequently been the subject of intense deliberation. We never forget the original impulse that led to the passage of the act, which was, of course, to affirm that it was appropriate that children on Indian reservations or near Indian reservations of Indian parents and sometimes of mixed parentage should not simply be taken away from their families arbitrarily and mindlessly to be assigned into foster care relations or sometimes even worse, to group home care, but rather it should become a priority in the United States for us to assure as far as possible the opportunity for stable and healthy development in strong families for Indian children, and particularly that those children should be able to grow into an affirmation of an important cultural heritage. We are concerned this morning, however, with the reality that sometimes in the pursuit of preserving cultural heritage, we lose sight of the priority of humanity itself. We forget that these children with whom we are concerned and their families as well are also citizens of the United States. Citizens who received a sacred commitment in 1924 from the Congress of the United States when we first legislatively recognized that all residents of Indian reservations were in fact United States citizens. That belated recognition did not create the legal reality of citizenship, but it committed us publicly to honor the reality of Indian citizenship. The legal reality was first recognized, of course, in 1868 when we passed Reconstruction amendments to the Constitution of the United States, the most notable of which was the 14th Amendment. It's in the 14th Amendment that we instituted for the first time what is often referred to today as the birthright privilege of United States citizenship. The passage conferring the birthright privilege is very simple. It says that persons born or naturalized in the United States are citizens of the United States. That passage had two important roles. The first was to create for the first time under the Constitution United States citizenship as opposed to merely state citizenship. That was extremely significant because it reinforced the criterion of a responsibility on the part of the Congress of the United States to defend United States citizens in their basic rights and indeed in the privileges and immunities of United States citizenship. The second important element of that passage of the 14th Amendment was, of course, primarily designed to affirm that the freed slaves were indeed citizens of the United States, a question which in some minds was subject to dispute, but which dispute was reconciled once and for all by the adoption of the constitutional amendment and, of course, by the congressional imposition during the course of Reconstruction and the plan for readmitting seceded states into the Union, that they in fact ratify those Reconstruction amendments.